They laughed at you when you struggled. They whispered behind your back when you faced rejection. They thought you would never rise above the pain, the setbacks, the betrayals. But what they failed to realize is that the hand of God has always been upon you. They mistook your silence for weakness, your patience for powerlessness, and your humility for insignificance. But listen closely. Chosen one, God is not done with you yet. In fact, He is just getting started. The very people who dismissed you will soon have no choice but to acknowledge the undeniable favor that rests upon your life. Every setback was a setup. Every delay was a divine appointment, and every hardship was the preparation for the moment that is now unfolding before your very eyes. When God decides to elevate you, no force on earth can keep you down. No enemy, no critic, no doubter can stand in the way of what He has planned. They thought they buried you, but they didn't realize you were a seed. And now you are rising, stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before. Stay tuned, because what comes next will shake the very foundations of those who once disrespected you. This is the season where God forces them to respect you, and they won't be able to stop it even if they tried. They dismissed you as if you were insignificant. They walked past you without a second thought, never realizing the power that was growing inside you. You weren't invited to the conversations that mattered. You weren't chosen for the opportunities that could have changed your life. And worst of all, they made you feel like you were never enough, as if your voice, your presence, and your existence didn't carry any weight. They underestimated you because they couldn't see the calling on your life. They disrespected you because they didn't understand the anointing that was resting upon you. But while the world ignored you, God was watching. Every time you were rejected, God saw it. Every time you cried in silence, feeling abandoned and unwanted, God was right there with you. Every moment they pushed you aside, every time they laughed at your dreams, every time they made you feel small, God was witnessing it all. And do you think He will let that go unanswered? No, chosen one. God is a just God, and He does not allow His anointed to remain in the shadows forever. You may have been overlooked by people, but you were never overlooked by heaven. You may have been rejected by men, but you have always been chosen by God. The truth is, God sometimes allows us to be hidden, so that when He finally reveals us, it leaves everyone in shock. They thought you had nothing, but they didn't realize God was preparing you for something greater. They thought you were weak, but they failed to see the strength He was building within you. They thought they could treat you like nothing, but what they didn't understand is that God does not forget His own. He does not turn a blind eye to the mistreatment of His chosen ones. And now, He is stepping in to shift the narrative. Get ready, because God is about to expose the truth. He is about to elevate you in ways that will make those who once ignored you stop and take notice. The same people who looked down on you will be forced to look up to you. The same ones who said you were nothing will have to admit that God's hand has always been on your life. They thought they had the power to define you, but they forgot that only God has the final say. And His verdict is in. Your season of being overlooked is ending, and your time of divine recognition has arrived. There were people in your life who didn't want to see you succeed. Some of them smiled in your face while secretly hoping for your downfall. Others openly disrespected you, doubted you, and did everything in their power to make you feel small. They spread lies about you to ruin your reputation. They turned people against you with deception and manipulation. Some even tried to block opportunities that were meant for you, hoping to keep you trapped in a cycle of struggle and failure. They wanted to break your spirit because they saw something in you that they could never possess, God's anointing. And instead of celebrating you, they allowed their jealousy and insecurity to fuel their hatred. But what they didn't realize is that you were never fighting this battle alone. While they were working behind the scenes to tear you down, God was working behind the scenes to lift you up. Every time they tried to push you into darkness, God pulled you into the light. Every time they thought they had won, God turned their attacks into a blessing for you. They thought they were stopping your progress, but in reality, they were only preparing you for something greater. What they meant for evil, God was using for your good. They thought they had the power to destroy you, but they forgot one crucial thing. You are a chosen one, and no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Now, the season has come where God is about to make them witness your rise. The same mouths that cursed you will have no choice but to speak your name with respect. The same people who doubted you will have to acknowledge that they were wrong. They will watch as God blesses you in ways they never imagined. And the most powerful part? They won't be able to stop it, even if they try. God is setting a table for you in the presence of your enemies, and they will be forced to see you walk into everything they thought you'd never have. They will see your success, your influence, your power, and they will realize that their attempts to break you only made you stronger. This is the divine reversal. What was meant to destroy you has only elevated you. What was supposed to weaken you has only made you unstoppable. Your enemies thought they had control over your story, but they were mistaken. Only God writes your destiny, and He has declared that you will rise. Now, they will have no choice but to watch it happen. Some will pretend they never wronged you. Others will try to reconnect with you as if nothing happened. But deep down they will know the truth. God has favored you, and no one, no enemy, no hater, no force of darkness can take that away from you. Your greatness is undeniable, your power is unshakable, and now, even your enemies will have to admit that you were chosen all along. There was a time when people acted as if you didn't exist. They overlooked you, dismissed you, and refused to acknowledge your value. You reached out, but they left your messages unread. You offered kindness, but they met it with cold indifference. They made you feel invisible, as if your voice carried no weight, as if your presence was insignificant. Some of them even treated you with arrogance, believing they were above you, thinking they had the power to control your access to opportunities, to blessings, to success. But what they failed to realize is that power does not come from man, it comes from God. And now, He is shifting the power in your favor. Everything is changing. The same people who once ignored you will soon be the ones seeking you out. The same ones who rejected you will now be searching for your approval, your attention, your presence. They will suddenly remember your name. They will suddenly want to be connected to you. Why? Because when God lifts you, it becomes undeniable. When God shifts the power, even those who once held it against you have no choice but to recognize that you have been chosen. The influence they tried to withhold from you, the platforms they refused to share, the blessings they thought they could block, God is now placing them directly in your hands. This is what happens when divine favor steps in. When God decides to elevate you, nothing and no one can stand in the way. Those who looked down on you will now have to look up. Those who dismissed you will suddenly want to hear what you have to say. Some of them will act as if they always believed in you, as if they were always on your side. But deep down, they will know the truth. They ignored you when they thought you had nothing. But now, they will need you because God has given you something they can't ignore. Don't be surprised when the same people who once walked past you without a second thought start showing up, pretending they always supported you. Don't be shocked when the doors that were once slammed shut suddenly open on their own. This is what happens when God steps in. This is what happens when the power shifts. Those who thought they could control your destiny will realize they never had any power over you at all. They will see that the favor of God outranks any human status, any earthly title, any temporary position of influence. And now, the shift has begun. What once worked against you is now working in your favor. What was once denied is now being freely offered. The same people who ignored your presence will now seek your wisdom, your guidance, your help. But remember this, chosen one, your value was never dependent on their recognition. Your worth was never tied to their validation. God has always known who you are, and now He is making sure the world knows it too. There were moments when you questioned everything, when the pain felt too heavy, when the betrayals cut too deep, and when the weight of your struggles made you wonder if you'd ever see the light again. You fought battles in silence, carried burdens that no one else could see, and endured storms that would have broken an ordinary person. But you are no ordinary person. You are chosen. And every hardship, every setback, every sleepless night filled with tears was not in vain. It was not for nothing. God was using it all to build something powerful within you, something unshakable, something that no enemy could ever destroy. You see, the strongest warriors are not born in comfort. They are forged in the fire of adversity. God allowed you to go through struggles not to break you, but to strengthen you. Every disappointment was training your patience. Every betrayal was teaching you discernment. Every loss was preparing you for something greater. At the time, it may have felt like you were being crushed, but in reality, you were being refined. Like gold that must endure intense heat to reach its purest form. What you went through did not weaken you. It made you indestructible. The world may have looked at your struggles and assumed they were signs of defeat. But what they didn't see was how those very struggles were shaping you into something unstoppable. They saw you fall, but they didn't see how you got back up. Stronger, wiser, more determined than ever before. They saw your tears, but they didn't see the faith growing inside of you, the resilience being built, the divine strength that was being birthed through your suffering. And now, the season has come where all of it will make sense. The pain you endured is about to fuel your rise. The struggles you survived are now the very reason you cannot be stopped. God did not allow you to go through the fire just to leave you there. He allowed it so that when you emerged, you would be unshakable, fearless, and fully prepared for the blessings that are coming. Everything you have been through was part of His divine training, that part of His master plan to position you for greatness. And now you are stepping into a season where your struggles are transforming into strength, your past wounds are becoming wisdom, and the very things that were meant to break you have become the foundation of your unstoppable rise. So hold your head high, chosen one. You have endured the pain, and now you will enjoy the victory. You have suffered in silence, and now the world will witness your strength. Every struggle was a stepping stone. Every tear was watering the seeds of your success, and now those who doubted you will see what God was doing all along. You are not just a survivor. You are a warrior, built by adversity, strengthened by trials, and destined for something far greater than anyone could have ever imagined. There was a time when rejection felt like a curse, when every closed door, every ignored call, and every dismissive glance cut deep. It felt personal, as if the world had conspired to push you down, to make you feel unworthy, to make you doubt yourself. You tried to prove yourself, to show them you were good enough, but no matter what you did, it seemed like nothing was ever enough. The people you thought would support you turned away. The ones you looked up to overlooked you. And the ones you loved the most hurt you the deepest. But what if I told you that every single rejection, every single insult, every moment of disrespect was not a setback, but a setup? A setup for something greater than you ever imagined. God was watching every moment they dismissed you. He saw how they ignored your potential, how they treated you as if you didn't matter. He saw how they spoke against you, how they tried to make you feel like you were nothing. But here's the truth, they were never rejecting you. They were unknowingly pushing you into the exact position where God needed you to be. Every door that closed in your face was God redirecting you. Every insult that was thrown at you was God preparing you. Every betrayal was God cutting ties that would have held you back. What felt like abandonment was actually divine protection. God allows rejection to keep you from settling for less. He allows people to turn against you so that you don't stay in places that were never meant to hold your destiny. If they had accepted you, you might have gotten too comfortable. If they had treated you with respect, you might have stayed where you didn't belong. But because they rejected you, you were forced to keep moving. Because they insulted you, you were forced to grow stronger. And because they left you, you had no choice but to rely on God alone. Now, everything is shifting. The very rejection that once hurt you is about to be the reason for your elevation. The same people who insulted you will have no choice but to watch as God lifts you higher than they ever expected. They thought they were breaking you, but they were actually preparing you. They thought they were shutting you out, but they were only pushing you closer to your destiny. And now, they will see that every painful moment was part of God's perfect plan. So don't be bitter about the past, chosen one. Don't hold on to the pain of rejection. Instead, embrace it. Thank God for every insult, for every betrayal, for every door that was slammed in your face. Because now you can see the truth. It was all part of the process. It was all part of God's way of setting you apart, building you up, and making sure that when you rise, it will be undeniable. Get ready, because the very thing that once hurt you is about to be the reason for your greatest breakthrough. They laughed at your dreams. They rolled their eyes when you spoke about your purpose. They whispered behind your back, saying you would never make it, that you were chasing something impossible. They saw you struggling. They saw you trying, and instead of supporting you, they dismissed you. Some of them even hoped you would fail, just so they could say, "I told you so." But what they failed to understand is that you were never operating under human approval. You were moving under divine instruction. And now, the very people who doubted you will have no choice but to respect the anointing that God placed on your life. God saw everything, the mockery, the disbelief, the lack of support. He saw how they ignored your efforts, how they refused to take you seriously. He saw how they treated you like an afterthought, as if you weren't capable of anything great. But God also saw something else. He saw your faithfulness. He saw your perseverance. He saw the nights you cried out to Him, the moments when you kept believing despite the odds. And because you stayed true, because you didn't let their doubt define you, because you trusted God more than the opinions of man, now He is about to move in a way that will silence every voice that ever spoke against you. There is a shift happening. The same people who once disregarded you will now be forced to watch as God elevates you. The same ones who doubted your ability will have to acknowledge your success. The ones who refused to listen to you before will now seek your wisdom. They will see doors open for you that they never thought you could walk through. They will witness blessings pour into your life that they never believed you deserved. And they will have no choice but to admit that it was God all along. But here's the most powerful part. This moment of recognition is not for your ego, it's for God's glory. Your rise will not just be about proving people wrong, it will be about proving that God is real, that His anointing is undeniable, and that when He calls someone, no human opinion can cancel it. The respect you are about to receive is not because of your own strength, but because the presence of God in your life is too powerful to ignore. So don't be surprised when the tables turn. Don't be shocked when the same people who once dismissed you now try to befriend you, to align with you, to act as if they always believed in you. It's not that they suddenly changed, it's that God has changed your position. And now, whether they like it or not, they will have no choice but to respect the anointing on your life. This is the season where doubt turns into undeniable proof. This is the moment where every no you ever received becomes a testimony of how God's yes was always greater. They mocked you. They spoke down to you as if you were insignificant. They treated you like you were beneath them, like your dreams were foolish, like your purpose had no weight. Some of them laughed behind your back, others insulted you to your face. They took every chance to remind you that, in their eyes, you were nothing. They shut doors in your face, not because you weren't capable, but because they didn't believe you deserved a seat at the table. What they didn't realize was that you weren't looking for a place at their table. You were waiting for the one that God Himself was preparing for you. God has seen every moment of humiliation. He has watched every time you were disrespected, every time you were treated as less than. He saw when you were left out, ignored, and cast aside. And while they were busy looking down on you, God was lifting you up. While they were rejecting you, God was setting you apart for something greater. And now the time has come where He is preparing a table for you. Not in secret, not in the shadows, but right in front of the very people who once belittled you. This table is not just about blessings, it's about divine recognition. Those who doubted you will now have no choice but to watch as God blesses you openly. The same ones who ignored your worth will have to witness your rise. They will see you walk in favor, step into opportunities they never thought you would have, and move in power they never believed you could carry. And there will be nothing they can do to stop it. The anointing on your life will be undeniable. But here's the most beautiful part. This table isn't about revenge. It's about God's glory. When He prepares a table for you, it's not just to prove your enemies wrong, it's to prove that He is faithful. It's to show the world that when He chooses someone, no human can block what He has ordained. Your success is not just about you, it's about being a testimony that God exalts those who remain faithful despite opposition. So don't be surprised when people who once disrespected you suddenly start watching your every move. Don't be shocked when they act as if they never doubted you. It's not that they've changed, it's that God has changed your position. And now they will have no choice but to witness your elevation. The table has been set, the feast is ready, and God Himself has written your name on the seat of honor. Your time has come. There was a time when people overlooked you as if you were invisible. They dismissed your potential, ignored your efforts, and acted as though you had nothing of value to offer. Some even tried to silence you, pushing you into the background, hoping you would stay hidden. But what they didn't realize was that God was working on something greater within you. He was molding you, refining you, and preparing you for a level of success that could not be denied. And now the time has come for the world to witness what God has been doing behind the scenes. Your success will not be ordinary. It will be so profound, so undeniable, so extraordinary that even those who doubted you will have to acknowledge it. They won't be able to ignore what God has placed in your hands. They won't be able to deny the way He is elevating you. The very ones who once acted as if you were unimportant will now have to watch as you rise into greatness. Doors that were once locked will now swing open. Opportunities that once seemed impossible will now come to you effortlessly. What once felt out of reach will now be placed directly in your hands. And with this success comes divine honor. You will no longer have to explain your worth. Your presence alone will command respect. People will no longer look at you the same way because God is setting you apart. You will walk into rooms and feel the shift. You will speak, and people will listen. Those who once doubted you will now want to be associated with you. Some will try to pretend they always believed in you, but deep down, they will know the truth. They will know they misjudged you. They will know they underestimated you. And now, they will have no choice but to honor the calling on your life. But this isn't just about personal victory. This is about divine purpose. God is not blessing you just for yourself. He is blessing you so that His power can be seen through you. Your life is about to become a testimony that when God places His favor on someone, no human can stop it. Your success will not come from man, it will come from heaven, and that is why it will be undeniable. No one will be able to take credit for what God is about to do in your life. No one will be able to say it was luck or coincidence or human effort. It will be clear that this is the hand of God. So stand tall, chosen one. Your time has come. You don't need to chase validation from anyone anymore. Your success will speak for itself. You don't need to demand respect. Your presence will command it. Everything you have endured, every struggle, every setback, every rejection, it was all leading to this moment. And now, the season of your undeniable success has arrived. Get ready, because the world is about to see what God has always known. You were chosen for greatness. They thought they could mistreat you without consequences. They lied to you, betrayed you, and broke you without a second thought. They took your kindness for weakness, believing they could do whatever they wanted and walk away without facing any repercussions. They laughed when you were hurting. They felt powerful when they saw you struggle. They never imagined that the tables would turn. But what they failed to understand is that you are chosen by God, and no weapon formed against you will prosper. And now God is about to humble them in a way they never expected. Every tear you cried was seen by heaven. Every wound they inflicted, every word they spoke to tear you down. It was all recorded. They thought they got away with it. They thought their actions had no weight. But what they didn't realize is that God does not ignore the suffering of His chosen ones. The pain they caused you was not unnoticed, and now they are about to learn a painful lesson in humility. The same people who once laughed at your struggles will now have to watch you rise. The ones who thought they were above you will now see God elevate you beyond their reach. They will watch as favor, blessings, and opportunities come pouring into your life. And they won't be able to stop it. Everything they thought they took from you, God is about to restore tenfold. The same way they disrespected you is the same way they will now be humbled. Some of them will come back, not because they truly care, but because they will need you. They will realize that the very person they mistreated is now the one with the power, the influence, the anointing. They will wish they had treated you differently. They will wish they had valued you when they had the chance. But God is making it clear. This is not your revenge. This is His justice. And here's the difference between you and them. You won't need to seek revenge because God is handling it. You won't have to stoop to their level because your victory will be enough. They will see that favor cannot be stolen and destiny cannot be destroyed. The pain they caused you will be a reminder that God always fights for His chosen ones. So don't waste your energy trying to make them see what they did wrong. God will show them. Don't lower yourself to their level. God is lifting you higher. Stay focused, stay faithful, and watch as the same people who once tried to break you now learn the meaning of humility. Justice is coming, and your victory is unstoppable. There are forces in this world that have tried to hold you back. People who have tried to silence your voice, dim your light, and block your blessings. They saw your potential, but instead of supporting you, they tried to suppress you. They saw something special in you, but instead of celebrating it, they felt threatened. So they plotted against you, spoke against you, and did everything in their power to keep you from rising. But what they failed to understand is this: when God places His favor on your life, no human, no system, no enemy can stop what He has ordained. You are not ordinary. You are not just another person walking through life without direction. You are chosen. And when God chooses someone, He anoints them with divine favor, favor that opens doors no man can close, favor that breaks chains, favor that makes a way even in impossible situations. That is why, no matter how much they tried to block you, you kept moving forward. No matter how many times they tried to bring you down, you kept rising, because the power that is within you is greater than the forces that stand against you. Some people thought they had the authority to determine your future. They believed that if they denied you an opportunity, you would never succeed. They assumed that if they turned their backs on you, you would be left helpless. But now, God is showing them that He alone has the final say. They rejected you, but God accepted you. They tried to close the doors, but God has thrown open even greater ones. They tried to suppress you, but now they have no choice but to watch as God lifts you beyond their reach. The favor on your life is not ordinary favor. It is supernatural. It is the kind of favor that cannot be explained, only witnessed. People will look at you and wonder how you keep winning despite everything you've been through. They will question how you continue to walk in blessings despite the obstacles thrown in your path. Some will even try to discredit your success, searching for ways to explain away your rise. But the truth is undeniable. God's hand is on your life, and no one can remove it. So, chosen one, walk boldly in your favor. Stop worrying about who doesn't support you. Stop stressing over who tried to block you. They are no longer in control. God is, and what He has chosen to uplift, no human can suppress. Your time is now, and no force on this earth can stop what God has already set in motion. Get ready, because elevation is here, and your divine favor is unstoppable. They shut doors in your face, thinking they could block your destiny. They spread lies about you, hoping to destroy your reputation. They whispered in the ears of others, trying to turn them against you. Some of them even worked in secret, plotting your downfall, believing that if they could discredit you, they could stop you. But what they didn't understand is this: you are not walking in human favor. You are walking in divine anointing. And now, every door they closed, every opportunity they denied you, every false accusation they threw your way, is about to backfire in a way they never expected. For too long, you have felt the weight of rejection. You knocked on doors that refused to open. You applied for opportunities that never came. You tried to prove yourself, only to be met with resistance. You watched as less deserving people were given chances you worked hard for. It felt unfair. It felt like no matter how much you prayed, no matter how much you prepared, something was always in your way. But the truth is, it wasn't rejection. It was redirection. God wasn't letting those doors open because He had something much bigger, much greater, and much more powerful in store for you. And now the season of waiting is over. The doors that once remained locked are about to swing open. The same people who shut you out will now see you walk into places they never thought you could enter. The very opportunities they tried to keep from you will now come looking for you. What once felt like rejection is about to become undeniable proof of God's favor on your life. And the best part? You won't have to force your way in. God Himself is making a way for you. But that's not all. Every false accusation spoken against you is about to turn into proof of your power. The lies they told about you were meant to break you, but instead, they are going to elevate you. The things they said to ruin your name will now be the very things that set you apart. What was meant to shame you will now become your testimony. Your enemies thought they were burying you, but they were actually planting you. And now, the evidence of your resilience, your strength, and your anointing will be undeniable. Get ready, chosen one. Your breakthrough is here. Every attempt to block you has failed. Every weapon formed against you has been dismantled. Every lie spoken against you is about to be reversed. God is stepping in, and when He moves, no force in this world can stand against it. The doors are opening, the truth is coming to light, and your power is about to be revealed like never before. This is your moment. Walk boldly into it. They thought if they could break you, they could control you. They wanted you to stay small, to remain powerless, to doubt yourself so much that you would never rise. They put obstacles in your path, hoping you would give up. They spoke words designed to cut deep, hoping you would lose confidence. They betrayed you, abandoned you, and left you in situations where they thought you would crumble under the weight of your struggles. But what they didn't realize is that every attack, every setback, every painful moment was not making you weaker. It was making you stronger than ever. God saw what they did. He saw the way they tried to wear you down, to drain your energy, to make you feel like you had no fight left in you. He saw the tears you cried in private, the silent battles you fought alone. But He also saw something else. He saw your resilience. He saw your faith. He saw that no matter how much they tried to break you, you refused to let go of Him. And because you held on, because you refused to surrender, God has now turned every attack against you into the very thing that strengthened you. Look at yourself now. You are not the same person you used to be. The trials that were meant to destroy you have only made you wiser. The rejection that was supposed to shatter you has only deepened your understanding of who truly belongs in your life. The betrayals that should have left you bitter have instead taught you how to trust God above all else. The pain that should have left you weak has instead become the fire that fuels your purpose. You are stronger than you have ever been, and there is nothing your enemies can do to change that. They expected to see you broken, but instead, they will see you empowered. They thought you would collapse, but instead, they will watch as you rise higher than ever before. The strength you now carry is not just physical. It is spiritual, mental, and emotional. It is the kind of strength that can only come from walking through the fire and coming out refined. You have been tested, but you have not been defeated. You have been wounded, but you have not been destroyed. And now your enemies will have to face the reality that their plans failed. They wanted you weak, but God has made you unshakable. They wanted you to fall, but now you stand taller than ever. They wanted you to doubt yourself, but now you move with divine confidence. They wanted to break you, but instead, God has built you into something even greater. So walk boldly in this new strength, chosen one. You have survived everything they threw at you, and now, nothing can stop you. You are no longer the person they once tried to control. You are powerful, you are anointed, and you are unstoppable. Your strength is your victory, and your rise is inevitable. They tried to silence you. They dismissed your potential and acted like your presence didn't matter. Some even went out of their way to block your opportunities, thinking they could control your destiny. They spread lies, whispered rumors, and tried to manipulate situations to keep you small. But what they didn't understand is that God had already written your name in greatness long before they ever doubted you. And now, no matter how much they try to resist it, your influence is about to expand beyond anything they ever imagined. God's hand is on your life, and when He decides to elevate someone, no enemy, no hater, no opposition can stop it. You are stepping into a season where your name will carry power, where your presence will shift atmospheres, and where people will seek you out. Not because of what you have, but because of the anointing you carry. Those who once ignored you will now listen when you speak. The ones who looked down on you will now look up to you. You will walk into rooms where they once tried to shut you out, and they will have no choice but to acknowledge your greatness. They may not like it, but they will have to respect it. Even the ones who once mocked you will now be forced to admit that there is something different about you. Some will try to deny it, but deep down, they will know the truth. They underestimated you. They thought you were just another ordinary person, but now they will see the power of God moving through you in ways they never expected. They will see you breaking barriers, stepping into positions of influence, and walking in divine authority. And there will be nothing they can do to stop it. This is not about proving anything to them. This is about fulfilling the destiny God has placed on your life. Your rise is not about revenge. It's about God's purpose being fulfilled through you. He has placed you on this earth for something greater than you even realize. And now, the world is about to see what He has been preparing you for. So don't be surprised when your influence begins to expand. Don't be shocked when people who once dismissed you start seeking your wisdom, your guidance, and your presence. This is your time. This is your season. And even your greatest enemies will have no choice but to witness, acknowledge, and respect the undeniable greatness that God has placed upon you. You were never meant to stay hidden. You were meant to shine. And now your light is about to shine so brightly that even those who tried to dim it will have no choice but to see your glory. Get ready, chosen one. Your influence is about to reach new heights, and no one can stop it. Everything you've been through, every struggle, every setback, every moment when you thought you wouldn't make it, it wasn't just about you. God was writing a testimony through your life. He was shaping you, molding you, and preparing you to be a living example of what His power can do. When others see you rise, when they see the transformation in your life, they will have no choice but to acknowledge that it was God. There are people watching you right now, some secretly, some openly, wondering how you're still standing. They saw what you went through. They know the battles you faced. Some even counted you out, thinking you would never recover. But what they didn't realize is that God had already planned your comeback. He was never going to let you stay down. He was simply setting the stage for His power to be revealed through you. God is using you as a demonstration of what happens when someone truly trusts in Him. He is proving through your life that no obstacle is too great, no enemy is too strong, and no attack can stop what He has ordained. Your victory will not just be for your own benefit. It will be a sign to others that God is real, that He is still working miracles, that He is still lifting people from the lowest places and taking them to the highest heights. There are people in your life who have doubted God. Some have lost faith. Others have convinced themselves that miracles don't happen anymore. But when they see what God is about to do for you, they will have no choice but to believe. Your success will not come from human effort alone. It will be so supernatural, so undeniable, that the only explanation will be, this had to be God. This is why you had to go through what you did. Your struggles were not in vain. Your pain had a purpose. The battles you fought were not just about you. They were about building a testimony that will change lives. God allowed you to walk through the fire, but now you are coming out refined, victorious, and unstoppable. Get ready, chosen one. Your story is about to inspire multitudes. People will look at you and see the proof of God's faithfulness. They will see that no matter how hard life gets, God always has the final say. They will witness firsthand that when God is for you, nothing can stand against you. So stand tall, because you are walking proof of God's power. You are the example that will make others believe again. And as God lifts you higher, His name will be glorified through your life. This is bigger than you. This is divine destiny. Get ready, because your testimony is about to shake the world. There was a time when you felt overlooked, dismissed, and unappreciated. You gave your best, but it seemed like no one noticed. You spoke truth, but people refused to listen. You showed loyalty, but they took you for granted. You tried to prove your worth, hoping that one day the respect you deserved would finally come. But no matter how much you did, it felt like you were fighting an uphill battle just to be seen. But hear this, you will not have to fight for what God has already ordained for you. The respect they denied you, the honor they refused to give, the recognition they withheld, God Himself is stepping in to make sure you receive it. The same people who dismissed you will soon be forced to acknowledge you. The very ones who refused to take you seriously will now have no choice but to respect you. And the best part? You won't have to lift a finger to make it happen. You see, respect that is forced is temporary, but respect that is divinely given is permanent. That's why God never wanted you to waste your energy trying to prove yourself to people who refuse to see your value. He never wanted you to chase approval or fight for validation from those who were never meant to be part of your destiny. Instead, He was preparing a moment where your greatness would be undeniable, where your presence would command honor without you having to say a word. And now, that moment is here. The tables are turning. The same people who once ignored you will soon be speaking your name with admiration. The ones who tried to belittle you will have to watch as God elevates you beyond their reach. They will see the favor on your life, and they will know that it was never man who determined your worth. It was always God. When God decides to honor someone, there is no human force that can stop it. He is about to position you in such a way that even those who once disrespected you will now be unable to deny your greatness. They may not like it, but they will have no choice but to acknowledge it, because what God has placed in you cannot be ignored, and what He is doing in your life cannot be blocked. So stop worrying about who doesn't see your value. Stop trying to convince people to respect you. Your anointing speaks for itself. Your growth, your transformation, your elevation, it will demand respect without you even asking for it. The honor you once fought for is now being handed to you freely because God Himself is making sure you receive everything you deserve. Walk boldly, chosen one. Your time has come. Respect is not something you will have to fight for. It is something God is about to ensure is given to you effortlessly. And when He does it, it will be permanent, undeniable, and unstoppable. They spoke against you. They whispered lies, spread rumors, and did everything in their power to tarnish your name. Some of them laughed at your struggles, thinking they were witnessing your downfall. Others took pleasure in seeing you fail, believing that you would never rise again. They thought their words had power over your destiny. But what they didn't realize was that God was listening the entire time. God saw how they mocked you. He heard every insult, every false accusation, every time they tried to make you feel small. And while they were busy trying to destroy you with their words, God was preparing a testimony so powerful that those same mouths would be forced to bless you. The tables have turned, chosen one. What was meant to harm you is about to elevate you. The very people who spoke curses over your life will now have no choice but to speak blessings. It is not because they have changed their hearts. It is because God is making your victory so undeniable that they won't be able to ignore it. The same people who said you would never succeed will now be congratulating you. The same ones who tried to block your blessings will now be talking about how highly favored you are. The very mouths that once spoke doubt over your life will now be forced to testify about your greatness. This is the power of divine justice. God is not just lifting you up, He's doing it in a way that will make everyone who ever doubted you take notice. They won't just hear about your blessings, they will witness them firsthand. Some of them will pretend like they always believed in you. Others will try to act like they never spoke against you. But deep down, they will know the truth. They tried to curse what God had already blessed. And now, they will have to acknowledge that it was never their words that determined your destiny. It was God's hand on your life all along. They will see you walking in success, in favor, in abundance, and they will realize that they wasted their breath trying to stop something that was unstoppable. So, chosen one, don't waste your energy trying to convince people who once cursed you to now respect you. God is already handling that for you. You don't need their validation. They will give it anyway. Not because you asked for it, but because God is making them witness your rise. Get ready. You are about to see people who once spoke against you now speaking in your favor. The same mouths that cursed you will bless you. The same tongues that spread lies will now spread praise. The same voices that tried to break you will now testify about your strength. This is divine justice. This is God's plan unfolding. And nothing can stop it. The tables have turned, and your victory is undeniable. They thought they got away with it. They smiled in your face while secretly working against you. They pretended to be your friend, your supporter, your family, but behind closed doors, they spoke against you, plotted against you, and betrayed your trust. They thought their deception would never come to light, that their lies would never be exposed. But what they failed to realize is this: nothing is hidden from God. And now, the truth is about to come out in ways they never expected. For so long, they manipulated situations to their advantage, thinking you would remain blind to their deceit. But God was watching. He saw the conversations you weren't there for. He heard the words spoken behind your back. He witnessed the betrayal that you didn't even realize was happening at the time. And now, He is bringing everything to light. Every hidden scheme, every whispered lie, every false accusation, it's all about to be exposed. And when it happens, those who betrayed you will regret ever turning against you. They thought they were clever, but they forgot that God defends His chosen ones. They thought they were ruining your reputation, but in reality, they were setting themselves up for judgment. The very things they did in secret are about to be shouted from the rooftops. The same people they turned against you will now see them for who they truly are. Their masks are falling, and they will have no place to hide. At first, they will try to deny it. They will make excuses, try to twist the story, and even attempt to play the victim. But the weight of truth will be too heavy for them to escape. Their own actions will condemn them. The people who once believed their lies will start to see the reality for themselves. The ones who betrayed you will now be the ones exposed. And as this unfolds, they will regret everything they did to you. They will wish they had been loyal. They will wish they had treated you with honesty and respect. They will wish they had never taken your kindness for weakness. But by then, it will be too late. The damage has already been done, and now they will have to live with the consequences. But here's the beauty of it all. You won't have to seek revenge. You won't have to expose them yourself. God is handling it. He is revealing everything in His perfect time. And while they are dealing with the consequences of their betrayal, you will be rising higher than ever before. The very ones who tried to break you will have to watch as God blesses you beyond their imagination. So, stand firm, chosen one. The truth is on its way. Every hidden thing is about to come to light. And when it does, those who betrayed you will realize that turning against you was the worst mistake they ever made. God fights for His own, and your vindication is near. This is your season of undeniable elevation. The days of being overlooked, dismissed, and disrespected are over. You no longer have to explain yourself, prove yourself, or fight for a place at the table. God is commanding honor over your life. The very people who once doubted you will now have no choice but to acknowledge you. The ones who tried to keep you in the shadows will watch as God places you in the spotlight. This isn't about pride. This is about divine positioning. When God elevates you, no force in heaven or on earth can hold you back. No lie, no rumor, no betrayal can stop what He has ordained. Your influence is growing. Your voice is getting stronger. Your presence is becoming a force that demands attention, and not because of anything you've done, but because God Himself has spoken favor over your life. You don't have to chase respect. It's already been assigned to you. Your anointing carries weight. Your journey carries power. Your testimony carries authority. People will be drawn to you, not because you seek their approval, but because they will recognize the undeniable presence of God in your life. So walk boldly, chosen one. Step into your season of honor. Hold your head high, knowing that what God has commanded, no man can revoke. This is not just a moment. This is your new reality. Respect is no longer optional. It is divine law. And from this moment forward, you will move through life with the authority and presence of someone who is chosen, favored, and unstoppable.